2024 is looking like the lightest year for gaming in a while. What do we do now? If my voice sounds a little weird, sorry. I was at the Lions game yesterday, and, if you're not yelling, you're not there. 2023 was a fire year for games. We got way too many great AAA games to play them all. We got Baldur's Gate 3, Street Fighter 6, Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man 2, the game one, and Starfield. Okay, maybe not that last one. But there were a ton of other great games that came out too, and there's way too many of them to list. Lies of P, Armored Core 6, Sea of Stars, Death Must Die, The Day Before. Oh, that's right, The Day Before. Oof. 2022 was pretty great too. We got Elden Ring, we got God of War Ragnarok, we got Vampire Survivors, we got even some weird games like Stray and Neon White and Immortality? I know the last one looks like I just slipped a movie in there, but that game got nominated for a Game Award, do whatever. But anyway, there was no way to play everything that came out in the last 2 years, which is good because there's not much to play coming out this year. As far as AAA games go, we have Tekken 8. Which looks cool. We also have Star Wars Outlaw, supposedly, but that game doesn't have a release date, so who knows if it's actually coming out. The hypest thing coming out this year is the Elden Ring DLC, which, I can't wait for it, but it's still just DLC. Also can't wait for Hades 2, but that still leaves, most of the year with no new games. Don't worry, I've got you covered. I've come up with a list of 5 things you can do to fill up the time since there's no new games coming out this year. Number 5... touch grass. I'm just kidding. We're not going to do any stupid cop-out stuff like that. Just because there's no new games doesn't mean that we're not gamers. So let's go to the real number 5. Make gaming videos. Now is a perfect time to make videos talking about how there's no games coming out. I'm sure someone else is doing that, so maybe you should try to make videos about something else, but still gaming related. Making gaming videos is actually kind of hard, but it gives you a good reason to go back to games you liked again, and maybe you could share why. That's okay, but you could always go back and start hating on games you didn't like as well. The world could definitely use another dozen Elden Ring was actually bad guys videos. Either way, gaming videos give you an excuse to play games, but possibly make money from it. And if you're looking for a way to make money with games, you're definitely better off doing it with videos than you are going into esports. Trust me. There's a lot of different directions you can go with this. You can make gameplay videos and stream. It's not like that's super oversaturated. You could make a tier list or something like that. Honestly, I'm not really selling this. You could always make a video talking about games that impacted you. Show people why these games matter to you. Just make sure to pick something that people actually care about, I would personally love to make a video essay on why One Step from Eden is the most criminally underrated game of the last decade, but that's going to be interesting to about 2 people. And one of them is my mom. Before we get into the rest of the list, I'm going to need you guys to do one thing for me. Subscribe to the channel. I see most of y'all ain't subscribed. It's kind of disrespectful at this point. Now let's get to number 4. Number 4. You can play games in person with other people. These days, when we talk about multiplayer games, we mean a game that you play online with other people. And that's great, that's fine. But we're talking about a lack of new games. And most multiplayer games aren't changing meaningfully either. Another option is to play some games in person with others. You probably haven't done this that often. I'll be honest, I don't even know how some of my Discord friends look in real life. Now, I don't really mean going to play games on the couch with the boys. That's great too, if you can do it. Cool. But if you don't have that option, there's some other options for you as well. If you like Super Smash Bros., chances are there's some people in your area that play it regularly. Some of my favorite gaming memories come from going out and playing in tournaments with other people. You would think that this atmosphere would be super competitive, but most of the people are just looking to hang out and have a good time. And who knows, you just might be him, a Gigakik. A Gigachad. You could also, I don't know, you could start playing Pokemon Go again in the park. Maybe you'd connect with the 5 other humans that still play Pokemon Go. Even if you didn't connect with those, at least you'd get some steps in while you game. Number 3, you can catch up on gaming history. There have been a lot of games that came out before. Shout out to you Zoomers, because y'all really don't be knowing anything about gaming history. Note, the writer of this video may or may not be a Zoomer, but he chooses to identify as a millennial or a Zoomer as it suits him. Also, the editor of this video, a Zoomer, doesn't appreciate this slander. There have been so many cool stories in gaming history that don't get enough shine. Did you know that Nintendo used to be a playing card company? Okay, some of you might have known that. But did you know that they used to own, less savory hotels? Or did you know that I might be the greatest gamer to ever walk the earth? Or that Sega has been around for longer than Apple? You could binge some Did You Know gaming videos or What Happened to find out some of this stuff, or you could look it up yourself. There's so much free information online if you know where to look. If you're a Giga nerd, and I mean, I don't know any of them, but if you happen to be one, you might enjoy looking at old gaming magazines. They're up online for free. It's kind of cool to look back and see how people were thinking and talking about games way before we were born. You have a lot more in common with these people than you'd think. Game reviews from 1995 look pretty similar to the ones today. There's a ton of stuff in video game history. If you're ever in the Dallas area, you can check out the National Video Game Museum. It's pretty cool, honestly, and it covers a lot of gaming history. That's a little higher commitment than Googling stuff, though. Number 2, you can play older games. This one almost didn't make the list because, duh, you could always play older games. I mean, some of us have a backlog longer than we'll ever get through, so if you never got a chance to play through Elden Ring, I mean, you're an insane person. Or if you're not him and you struggled to deal with the first boss in Elden Ring and it made you quit the game and feel a mild sense of shame every time someone brings it up. It makes you question whether or not you might be a real gamer because you can't even make it past the first boss in Elden Ring. Okay, sorry, I got a little deep in the metaphor there. Oh, and I wasn't talking about myself there. I was talking about maybe you, because I might be the greatest gamer to ever walk the earth. You could always go back and play some truly old games too. You'd be surprised how well something like Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 holds up, or Mario 64, or even Mario Party 2. Day at the Races is the greatest party game ever made. If you know, you know. All 4 of the things I've mentioned so far are cool options, but they all have downsides. Most of them will cost you money, although making content might be able to make you some money. Well, this last one also could make you some money. Number 1, you can make games. It's time to be part of the solution. Make some games. Getting into making games is really hard. I could look at a tutorial, but I'm gonna just jump right in and see. I've used game engines before. How hard can it be? All right, so we got a screen. Yeah, let me look at a basic tutorial. I'm not going to undersell it, but it's something that so many of us gamers actually want to do. It's also a little easier than you would think. It used to be an esoteric art that took a ton of skill in programming and a lot of complicated proprietary equipment. Now, you have the internet, you have everything you need to make a game. You could start with something like Scratch, but that is a video game engine made for actual children. If you have a gaming PC, I'd say jump right in and start learning its Unreal Engine. It's complicated, but so is every game engine. It does give you options to make games without knowing how to code at all, and it's so popular that most of your issues will show up on Google. You can also download a lot of pre-made stuff because so many people are using Unreal Engine. Unity and Godot are also pretty easy game engines, but they do require you to learn to code a little bit. Wherever you start, now is a great time to start making your own game. You don't have to make the next GTA or Elden Ring. Your game doesn't even have to come out. Just try and make a game, and you'll get a real sense of accomplishment that's hard to find elsewhere, more than just beating something in a video game. Good luck, gamers.